Hello everyone, it is Jack the Music Lover again, here with another concert review. This is my second time seeing Novo Amor. However, because the first time I saw him it was in Barbican, and of course my review didn't include any clips of the concert because you're not allowed to film there. This is the first one where I was able to film stuff. It was in the Roundhouse in Camden. And it was my first time going there. I know people say it's quite an iconic venue. One person I was speaking to recently said it's his favourite. I found it quite a strange one. It didn't seem to be really set up well. The standing area didn't raise up, so I know it doesn't in many places, but it was quite hard to see, even with just a few people in front of you. But luckily I did get some good views. It wasn't completely dampened. But as always, we start with the support act, who was the exact same support act I imagine Novo Amor just has the whole time. It was his good friend Ed, also known as Low Swimmer. He... And then, about half an hour after Ed got off the stage, Novo Amor finally trickled on with the rest of his band, and Ed came back on. And he opened to the first song off of his new album, Collapse List, called First Place. Quite an ironic title. To properly listen to the album. I remember he had a section in the concert where he generally focused on his new album, but as for this song, I need to listen to it a few more times. However, the next two songs, also off of his new album, I have been listening to loads recently because they came out 2 months ago. I've had time. Same day, same face. I remember when I first listened to No Plans off of his previous album, Cannot Be Whatsoever, and being a bit like, this is a strange one. I found that even with the first No, it may just be some typical song when you compare it to other artists, but comparing it to Novo Amor, it's quite an abrupt start to the song. And as you go further into the song, it just builds along, and I don't think it gets a lot better. It's just quite, I'm now used to it, but it was quite a shock when I first listened to it. I was far more accustomed to listening to Years On. Typical going through the forest feeling musically that I love. It just feels like you can sway in the middle of nowhere. It just sounds like, here, it sounds like State Lines, the first song I found out about from Novo Amor from some playlist on Spotify. And so it just felt like I was falling in love with that again. He then delved a bit into the previous album. He did a few tracks from there, starting with Decimal. I was never a fan of Decimal because of the key it was in, being in a minor but also a falsetto. It just didn't fit my head right. But then he put it in a major key and sang it normally, and it was a complete game changer. I absolutely loved that version. He sang the last song off of that album, Gesper. It's this little delightful nugget right at the end. I feel like sometimes I overlooked it. I have no idea why. It's such a contrasting song. It was like going away for ages, but it seems so jolly. And is that out of tune, or is that meant to be like that? But I absolutely love that song, especially going to the end. It feels freeing, but not to the point of over-empowering. Then he sang what I think is my favourite song off that album, and he sang it just normally as it is in the recorded version, Halloween, and that. Specific line in that song, I think it's just that he put in a medical acronym. I don't like to have to go to the doctor and all that, but I just find, for some reason, that's my favourite line in the song. And then he ended that little section from third album with No Plans, but in a better key. I remember I said earlier, when I first heard No Plans, it surprised me a bit, but he turned it more into like the rest of his song. It wasn't more palatable, it was just more delightful. Started going into, he sang a few from his second album, the first album of his I found out about, but redoing the key didn't really work. Birdcage hurt my ears. It was too out of tune. It really didn't work. State Line slightly out of tune. I absolutely adore that song, so I'd love the chance to actually hear it in its proper key. loads of songs on that album I love more than Birdcage, so I'd rather he like sang one of them in tune, preferably. He then went back to the other albums. He, from his new album, sang the other sort of single in that beginning. Did they release an EP? Just a bunch of the singles. Land Where I Land. I think that's so far my favourite song off of his new album. To describe it, it's just delightful to listen to. So is the next song he sang off of his third album, Opaline, which I recently put in one of my train videos. I went on a train in Wales and made a video about it, and because Novo Amor is Welsh, I thought I'd include that song along with another Welsh song. Building up, but it's always just elevated. I don't know how to describe it. It's sort of powerful and quite understated at the same time. I just love that song. And another thing you gotta love is the fact that Novo Amor is so socially awkward. This time around, the Mozart joke, he wanted to recreate that and he did it with ChatGPT. And this is a little snippet of how that went.
Dave, maybe. Our bassist, in a panic, dashes off the bus and into the bushes for a quick pit stop. But lo and behold, he stumbled upon a nudist colony. As he's trying to make a discreet exit, the unthinkable happens. He shits his pants. So yeah, right there in front of the startled nudists. Let's just say it was a crappy situation all round. And just remember, that's not me saying that. That was ChatGPT in place of me, because I had no personality. I do want to thank him for being...
Probably the... Nah, I like his music too much. Although it's out there was one of the best parts of the concert. What followed just shows how good friends they all are. So Ed has taken a break from being in the Novo Amor band for a little while. And damn, didn't they organise a cake for him? Who brought it out was just like in front of what must be like 5,000 people, bringing out a farewell cake. We didn't get a slice though, although imagine trying to give it all to us. I mean, Novo Amor, he makes amazing music. He's not quite Jesus, he isn't gonna like multiply it for all of us. I wonder how Jesus did that in the Zeros with all them bread and fish. Well, I mean, he started with like 5 and 2 and somehow turned it into like 5,000 and 2,000. He defeated death as well. I mean, if anyone was a magician. Of course, they had to end it. Well, Ed sang it, but no, this is my favourite Novo Amor song. Opaline is second to Terraform. I absolutely adore this song. And they've sung it in the same way they sang it in the Barbican Centre, and I got to properly relive that experience. And now that I was able to film it, I'm able to relive it for the rest of my life.
Have you fallen in the rain? Call me out, stay platonic. I'll find a chaperone. Spare me your ceremony. Darling, in all your pheromones. Find light in this
Seeing Novo Amor again. Would I see Novo Amor some more? Probably. Especially if they're going to end with Terraform in that way every single bloody time. I absolutely adored that. There have been times where I've been happier at a concert, most likely at when I saw Sigrid and Florence, but that goes probably up there in the top 5 of happiest moments of me at a concert. So, that was me seeing Novo Amor. I've been Chatting the Music Lover, and I'll see you in the next one.